intensified our intelligence network. So out of that, we'll be able to come out to say, no, the public, hey, be careful. This is what is happening.
Let me dwell on your professional competence now and ask, what would constitute contract killing, for instance? We are not saying what is happening or the cases we are talking about are contract killings, but for our own education, at what point would the police, for instance, label a series of murders contract? What would be the elements?
Yeah, we may be going into organized crime now, right? Because when we talk of contract killing, then people must be hired to do the work.
Okay.
There should be people who plan, strategize as to how they will go about it. What type of weapons, they will even mount some surveillance to know how the fellow movement is. Some of this is not even safe for me to go into details here now. Because when you talk of contract killing, it goes further into planning. The people involved will plan, people are organized, people are become professionals in doing it. Like what we have been watching on some of the foreign films.
Movies, yeah.
Somebody will meet someone in the bush, give him a picture of this, and they'll be trying to see who identify him, and they try to know his movement. Where does he go from work? What one does he come home? Then there is a price put on the fellow's head that do this for this price, and they are working for money. They are working for a fee, right? So I wouldn't want to go too much into, but this is just a small gist about what is a contract killing. Somebody must be hired to perpetrate the crime, to execute someone's interest. There is someone hiding somewhere who thinks that you should be taken off. He wouldn't want to do it himself, like he was saying, but he will get one or two people
to execute
engage them, give them monies, and he wants to ensure that his interest is carried out.
Okay. And in the current matters you're talking about, we are not sure whether the persons who feel peeved are the ones who perpetrated these crimes on their own or got other people to execute these crimes.
Yeah,
shouldn't that stand to reason that we shouldn't be quick to label this contract?
Yeah, exactly. But the precision with which all these crimes have been perpetrated seems to go into the body of the things superintendent has mentioned, because there are certain cases you attempt murder and you don't succeed, but these people have done it as though they've been trained for it, and therefore it leaves out with a lot of speculation that perhaps these people have been contracted by some people who are higher than they in society to take out people they consider as rivals. The guy who killed the Stanbic Bank lady, a few suspects have been nabbed, and you can see that they are ordinary people. Street urchins or people who can't even afford 3 square meals. And what is so saddening for us as observers is that the one who pulls the trigger is kept completely in the dark about the motive for which he's been hired to carry out this crime.
They'll tell you that's not your business. That's, as we see in the movies, yours is to execute.
Exactly. That is why I think, there is a certain biochemical process that takes place before you take an intention to carry out homicide. And therefore, whatever happens, whether it is contract killing or not, it is premeditated, number one, and number two is first degree murder, and therefore it should be treated as such. And I think that we should tackle it from the point of looking at the well-being of the people who are exploited to carry out these acts. For all you know, if I were an MD and there was a competitor in the business, I wouldn't have the nerve to come out and attempt to kill the person. But for as long as I can go to a slum and hire someone who has been taking marijuana, someone who has been let down by society, that means that I have a pool of recruits to use for such crimes, for as long as the society is not able to provide them with a socio-economic well-being. So I think there is a direct correlation between these killings and the socio-economic well-being of the people who are exploited in them as well.
Okay, well, but for superintendent, and I want to be fair to the police as well, because as we speak, they don't have their thumbs on who really executed these crimes, as to whether it is the victims or the persons who feel peeved, who directly carry out these murders, or they hire other people. In the absence of that certainty, it becomes a bit tricky and slippery to be quick to associate it with hired or contract killers.
Yeah, for example,
shouldn't we have an open-minded approach to it?
Yeah, exactly. We should have
for the meantime.
In the meantime, there should be a comprehensive strategy, and they have the technical acumen and know how to deal with it. But I don't understand why a cobbler would want to attack a banker.
Yeah.
Has she broken his heart? Are they of the same class for her to have fallen in love with him? And Fennec,
there should be a motivation.
there should be a motivation, because when you look at the class of the people who have been targeted, for all you know, the one who shot Fennec might not be managing another artist in the music industry. Perhaps someone who feels peeved, as you have stated, has used person as a hired gun to achieve that negative objective.
Well, 020 is your WhatsApp line. Let us understand what you also make of the issues we're discussing tonight. The police is not quick to label this hired or contract killing, but as ordinary citizens, we are also free to also assume. We're also free to analyze on our own, and you're also free to share with us what you make of these matters. Superintendent, so how are we doing so far? Close to about 7 cases outstanding on our hands. We haven't closed in. We haven't, in most of the recent cases, we haven't heard of any arrest. How far are we doing? Are we doing well?
Yeah, I know that some of arrests have been made in some of the cases.
Okay.
But
can you
no,
tell us?
please, if you can spare me.
Okay.
I know a few arrests have been made so far, but I am not in a position to divulge such information. I think it's above me in the first place. And then it's not even safe, because there will be other accomplices involved. And
who, after getting to know that
so
somebody
we are
has been
careful.
arrested, will run away.
You may get 1 or 2 people, and it may there will be some lead that you may have to follow. So don't put it out quickly like that, right? So maybe at the right time, some of these things will come out. So I think that I wouldn't say we are not on top, but we are on it. We have done.
Do we have gun running on a massive scale in this country?
Gun running with the proliferation of small arms into our system. You know, Ghana have been surrounded by nations where there have been conflict. Cote d'Ivoire, Togo recently is now quiet, and like Sierra Leone, Liberia, refugees were brought in, and most of these refugees are even combatants, right? So the way they were brought in, I don't think that proper search were conducted on them, and then others to manage to bring in arms. Now we have a lot of outlets in this country that you can come in and out, not through the main port of entry.
Illegal routes.
Illegal routes all over the place. And because
but beyond what people bring in, we are very much aware of a place in the Volta region where locally manufactured guns are made. Alavanyo, for instance, is a very busy area for gun manufacturing.
Yeah, I think Alavanyo, even when some of us were children, we heard of Alavanyo. They have been in that business for many, many years. But those days, people were not robbing people. They were manufacturing their arms, all right, but people were not robbing. Society is dynamic. Then we should acknowledge that society is dynamic, and we are growing. Population is increasing. He made a lot of good points, and I think that it's also some of the factors that we need to address. The man, if the man is jobless, he has nothing to do, he can easily be hired, right? So blacksmiths are registered to produce small arms.
Small arms as in what, pistols?
Cap gun for hunting. You know, in our local system, we use them for musketry and other things, right? It's not everybody who can get money to buy a shotgun. So, but going down to produce locally manufactured pistols, that is where I think that we need to address, because they carry them. Many of the cases that we have been confronted with, armed robbers are arrested and they carry these locally manufactured. Some of them are even double barrel. Yes. Yeah. So it means that they are also becoming sophisticated, right? So, but I know that the Arms and Ammunition Division of the Ghana Police Service some time ago mounted an exercise at those areas, and they were ensuring that such guns were not produced again, and those who were not registered were also being eliminated. I know we have conducted some exercise over there.
Well, we would also be joined on the phone lines by Professor Atifa. He's also a criminologist and versed in this area. We'll pick his thoughts on this trend of murders and the argument as to whether it's a contract killing and all of that. But let's get some education now. A lot of these cases have happened in the homes of the victims. there is evidence in some cases of a break-in. In the case of Fennec, for instance, his electronic fencing were tampered with. Residents talk about the fact that they heard noises coming from the house. In the case of this recent tobacco case, for instance, we're told of the businessman who was going to park his vehicle, and the guys pulled over and shot him in the right eye, and all of that. How do we manage our personal security in our homes, especially, and our walkabout as well?
Bibi, I think we seem to have swallowed everything from the West, hook, line, and sinker, and we see vestiges of the repercussions of that. Some time ago, if you were a successful Ghanaian, you wouldn't live alone. We are keeping our families strictly nuclear today. In those times, you could have a household of about 25 people. The best way you can be safe is to be in the company of other people. But every successful man would want to live in a far-flung neighborhood with very little noise, with no other relatives over there. And therefore, that is the first point we should look at. If you can live with a few relatives, that is all good. Those who heard the clamor from Phoenix house, perhaps if there were other occupants within the house, perhaps they would have been able to ring the alarm and called assistance from elsewhere. But we live in isolated areas. Where I live, I can count 3 blocks away, and I've never met the inhabitants of those places. So once in a while, there should be a form of social interaction between you and your neighbors in the neighborhood. But if everybody drives into their house and everybody drives out, then certainly when you're in trouble, nobody can come to your assistance. And when you drive home and you drive in the night, wherever you issue a curve, the same vehicle with the same number plate seems to be on your trail. You travel for about 100 meters, you travel up to 1 kilometer, and you see the same vehicle. If you are suspicious, you don't continue driving home at your own peril. You should drive to the nearest police post and seek assistance. And number 2, don't give away your personal detail on social media too easily. Someone is on Facebook, the person updates their post and they say home alone. So you are telling a potential killer that you are alone, and the right time to strike is now. So therefore, we should guard personal information close to our chest so that you don't expose yourself to danger.
So, Superintendent, what would you add to it? How do we manage our personal security?
Yeah, I have a lot to talk here. I think he has touched on some of the few things, but I think that of late you realize that the police, we have changed our approach to security. We have adopted the visibility approach, where policemen are conspicuously deployed at strategic points. But what we have observed is that we are there for the community. We are there to ensure that their security is enforced. But members within those localities are not even interested to talk to the police. They don't even know their phone numbers. And you find that at most of these strategic points, we have standby vehicles. They don't even talk to them at all.
Is it any fault of ours?
Yes, because
the police has not given us a friendly face, so it's difficult for the ordinary citizens.
Yes,
to walk
but the police, those there are not on their own. They have their bosses. They've been put there to protect the society. Now, the police security numbers, many, as you see, I don't even think that you know it.
I know about 18555. I know 192. But I'm sure a lot of other people also don't know it. But is it not because 191? Is it not because the police is not educating the public well enough?
They are written conspicuously clearly on our vehicles. You see them there, right? The police. Well, I granted that the police are not doing well. What about you yourself? We are not security conscious. We should be security conscious. Like you were saying, you are driving home. You should be. You know that you are in a high profile position. Now, with what is coming up now, and you are driving home, you should be able to look through your mirrors. Who's following me? As you drive to your house, open your highlight, watch around the hedges to see whether there are strange movement of human beings there. You should know. You just don't drive straight to your gate. You should be able to find out, is there any motorbike following me? How are they moving? Strange movement. And now, like he's saying, people live in isolation. They don't even know each other. They don't know their neighbors.
They don't care to know as well.
They don't even greet each other. Neighbors, they don't even hold meetings to plan about their security. Right. Now, we have this neighborhood watchdog committee. People who are living in high profile society are not interested at all. Right. These things helps. It helps you to know if there's a strange face around the area. If you know each other, this is my guy. He doesn't live here. What is happening? Right. So people who if they have neighborhood watchdog committees around, it will help a lot.
It used to be the norm, but it appears to have died down now.
Fine. When I was the crime officer at the airport, the people around this Lagos, they organized themselves. They even built the police station for us. I was the crime officer there. And they have been attending their meetings, and they invite us to give them security tips. I advise that when you are under stress, you are under attack, you become confused, so you cannot even communicate with the police very well. So if you are good neighbors and you are living together and you must be each other's keeper. Once you are under stress, you must call your neighbor actually. This is what is happening to me.
Oh,
and
I
your
suspect
neighbor,
this could be happening.
yes, your neighbor will be dealing with the police because he is not under stress. You'll be able to direct the police very well as to the location. I know someone was being attacked by the armed robbers. We asked him where he was living. He even forgot the name of the area. He was confused. Right now, some of these incidents, for instance, you could see that they were able to break into their homes. It should be difficult for someone to break into your home. At least there should be some level of security that it should take time. When there's a time, it will help you to communicate with the police. Right? So there's people who should improve upon the security of their homes. Many of us leave security in the hands of our house helps, our children. They will not even cross-check whether doors are properly locked. Right? They leave the security in the hands of the house helps, who have nothing to achieve. They have nothing to lose. It is you whose life is at stake. You should be interested to find out whether your doors are properly shut, your gate is properly locked, and then you must enforce your locks, your security.
I listened to Dr. Ainin today, and when you're talking about breaking in, he made a very interesting point, and that leads into the future. For him, we should brace ourselves for more of these murders, and in terms of breaking into homes, we should even expect, in some cases, the use of explosives.
I think that is quite exaggerated.
He mentioned the fact that there is a certain chemical that is on the open market. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. Ammonium nitrate can be used for homemade explosives. But I would disagree a bit with that expert, the security expert. I think it's far-fetched. Ghana hasn't gotten there, and we don't pray that we ever get there. And I would want to also mention that when you look at the current visibility regime of the Ghana Police Service, it is most intensive in commercial areas, on highways, but in residential areas where many of these murders have been committed, you don't see any signs of...
but we have the police military patrol teams. I will talk about...
They have been in existence for...
I will talk about the airport residential area because I was a crime officer there. What we were doing was that, and I think it's being done, is that we make sure that people within the area, they know them. When they go around, they themselves should go close to interact with them. Take the phone numbers of the personnel around there. We do it, but many people are not interested. I want to use this medium to say that the police are there for us. Please don't shy away from them. Use them. If they are not prepared to cooperate with you, their bosses are there. Right? The Inspector General of Police thinks that he has put men on the street to protect the society. If their men are not working well, I don't think he will have